Te reo ererangi o te mānia. This episode was produced in Ōtautahi by Plains Media, with support from New Zealand On Air.
It's part 2 of a 2-part series with Aotearoa Brainwave Trust, and Keryn is with me again today. We're exploring why it's important for us as parents to remain involved and connected to our young people's lives. And by young people, I mean rangatahi, youth, teens. Can't wait.
Thanks for joining us for Being Real Parents with me, Anna, and my colleague and buddy,
Kate. We work in the parenting space.
And it's here where we'll talk about our worlds as parents, the good, the not so good, and the hilarious, and mix this with what we know about behaviour and psychology.
So last session we looked at the why it's important that we remain involved with our rangatahi worlds. And then this is the how. You have a cool piece on this, explaining social and emotional changes during adolescence and more on your website, hey?
Oh, we've got lots.
Yeah, such a cool website. If you don't know it, go there. What's the
www.brainwave.org.nz.
Easy. Amazing space to go and really look into adolescents, as well as if you've got tamariki, all about what's going on for them and how we can support them, and which is why we're here. So we know that we're important in their worlds. Love that. We're important as parents in our rangatahi world, even though they don't always let us know that. Yeah.
Way more important than we often think too.
That's true. Hey, we kind of like decide that this might be the time that we kind of, dib out a little bit more.
It changes, but we're just as important.
Yeah. So they might look like they're more capable and competent, and they are more capable and competent, but they still need support and they still need connection to us.
Absolutely. I mean, I often think of when they're little and learning to walk as a good analogy, that it's not a smooth trajectory. There'll be positive steps, pun intended, in that direction, and then there'll be, days where it doesn't go so well, and, we're there to support them. And we expect there to be mistakes in that. We don't expect our toddlers to get up and just start toddling. Sometimes we can forget that with our young people, that just because they could do something yesterday doesn't mean that they're actually going to be able to do it today, because they're on a really steep learning path in so many areas of their lives, and hopefully understanding a bit more about that can help us as we figure out how to best respond.
It's a nice kind of lead-in, isn't it, to kind of expect there to be mistakes and know that mistakes are learning and they're okay. And if we're doing things okay, they have the opportunity to come to us in those.
Yeah, it's probably important to be really clear for listeners that we're talking about our young people will make mistakes, but so will we.
Oh, yeah. And so do we, yeah.
Yeah. I say, yeah. It's in the rear view for me. Parenting teens, so, yeah.
Nice. So, I've got, I've still got another one coming through it, actually.
You'll be a whiz.
Oh, yes, so good at this. I mean, the interesting thing is they're all different, isn't it? That's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting with what I've known before to be different again for my youngest.
Oh, absolutely. And so they should be. But, of course, just when we think sometimes that we understand how something might work or what's a good approach, that might be a good approach for one young person, but, for their sibling that might not be. And so then it's kind of a bit of back to the drawing board. The same principles kind of apply.
Yeah.
For what our young people need, but the practical application of that, what that might look like, can change and should change for the differing needs and personalities of each individual young person.
Yeah, just when we think we know what we're doing, parenting changes. Not only are there kind of temperament changes too for our young people, so that's going to have us parent a little bit differently, but then there's also that thing of our young people kind of figuring out who they are at that time as well. So also kind of being aware of that and accommodating that, and there's a lot.
There is a lot. And it's worth remembering that it's a lot for us, but it's, a lot for the young person themselves, figuring out who they are, which aspects of their upbringing and their parent and whānau values they kind of want to hold on to, which ones they might want to ditch, maybe temporarily, maybe permanently, what their interests are, what music they want to listen to, who they want to hang out with, how they see themselves in a whole variety of ways, whether that's exploring their sort of cultural identity, their gender, sexual identity. There's a lot that's happening for a lot of young people in that phase, and having stable, loving, committed adults who can be there to support that, who recognise that that's actually one of the jobs of our young people, to figure that out. And I think also to accept that maybe where they land isn't perhaps what we thought it might be for our young people, and recognising if that's the case, that's our stuff to sort out. But our young people need to be supported for who they are and how they navigate that time. And they might try whether it's trying a few different activities or moving friendship groups or their style of dress, or there might be all sorts of experimentation going on at that time as they try to figure that out. And we want that to be safe. We don't want a young person to cause harm or be harmed by any of that. When I talk about experimentation, parents' minds might go to the more risky end of that. But we need to allow them the space and the support, and then know that whatever they land on, that they are still loved and welcomed by their family, because there's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot for them to face, whether that's schooling, figuring out their future. So they need to have adults in their corner who can be there for them when that all gets a bit much.
You're listening to Being Real Parents on Plains Media, broadcasting on 96.9 FM, streaming live and available as a podcast on plains.org.nz.
That's a lot. And on top of that, there's usually school NCA stuff going on. We put a lot on our kids during that time, don't we? But I do want to also come back to... So I think that what we're saying in that is that as parents, the amount of change, the amount of stress, the amount of navigation is massive. And actually, most of the time we're seeing our teens coping with that relatively well, with the occasional flare-up, needing to be alone, and sometimes, unhappiness in that. And so it's remarkable that, that they're managing mostly, And then there's kind of like, who do we need to be in that for them? Yeah.
It's interesting, Anna, that you talk about flare-up, because I think one of the things that's handy to know or to really understand is that our young people are likely to experience their feelings in much bigger ways than perhaps they did as children, and compared to how they're likely to experience them as an adult. So, the highs can seem higher, things can be, much more exciting and all of that, but they can also, the disappointments and the hurts can also be felt more keenly through those years. So it's important that we don't take that personally, even if sometimes it seems to be a bit personal, but that we can try and model, healthy ways of dealing with big feelings and providing the space for a young person.
I think that's a key point, isn't it? I often find when I'm working with parents that they want to fix the behaviour, or they don't know why the flare-up happened and they want to get to the bottom of that. But actually sometimes it's just about being with them and making it feel okay to come through the emotion. And we can't rescue them from this stuff. They are going to feel disappointment, just like they're going to feel disappointment throughout their entire lives. Hopefully not often. And they're going to, feel exhilaration, throughout their lifetime too. And it's about us kind of being able to support them in that and know that they're safe in it. Yeah. Am I
For
right?
sure.
Yeah.
And I think another thing to bear in mind is that when those feelings are high, that's not the time to be engaging in any of those sort of logical, have you thought about this? What if you approached it this way? I mean, this is lovely in theory, okay?
Isn't it just,
I never put it into practice all of the time, but it's something to aspire to as parents, to be there for our young person, as you've just explained. And then if we think there are some things that need picking up on from what we've just seen and heard about where our young person's at, waiting until that emotion has passed and finding a calmer time for both young person and adult to then have any sort of constructive conversation we might want to have about whatever issues have come up.
Yeah, and coming to it from a place of curiosity and trying to figure out some ways forward together, as opposed to, I know better than you do.
Yeah,
again, great
definitely.
in theory. Yeah.
Yeah, another great theory.
We're just basically talking about the parents that we wish we were. Hey.
Well, maybe the parents who were on our extra good days, not
yes, that's
every
true.
day.
That's true. There are a few of those moments, aren't there, where I just go, nailed that, coming away, going to get the Milo because she wants to talk to me. Yeah. Yeah.
I actually found that some of the times that I was best was when I didn't have a clue.
Yeah, nice.
Probably because then I was quieter.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel I had all the wisdom because I wasn't sure which of my buckets of wisdom were applicable in the situation. And when I look back, I think some of those times when I'm like, I don't really know. I'm just kind of here.
Yeah.
And I don't have an answer, actually, probably would seem to be more helpful.
Which is different to what we think parenting should be, isn't it? Because we think that the parenting is this doing. We're going to be doing these things and we're going to know these things and we've got to, but actually parenting is a relationship. It's always, kind of like, with, alongside, not being imperfect, not having to be the expert. But you talked about the word safe, nurturing, safe base person. for them always.
It's huge. Yeah.
What keeps us safe as parents?
Us safe or our young people?
Yeah, what makes us be safe for our young people?
I'm sure a lot of that is around what we've already done in the years leading up to teenagehood.
Yeah.
What kind of credit we've got in the bank, if you like, and the relationship that we have established, the role modelling that we've done, what they've seen about how we handle life's ups and downs, or sometimes don't, but then how we pick ourselves up from that and put things right, or attempt to put things right and move on.
One of them too, I think, is they know what to expect from us, because we've been fairly consistent with the way that we come to things, with them.
I like the way you added fairly consistent. Because consistent's another stick that you can beat parents with, isn't it, really? Yeah.
Yeah, as consistent as possible.
Yeah. For a human being.
Yes. I think I borrowed that from Nigel Latter. Yeah. Nice. And then also in those times when we stuff up, because we stuff up too, repairing.
That's huge. And both, I think, our attempts to repair, which might be, and this can be hard depending on our own upbringing, we might feel like as the parents we shouldn't be apologising, or we shouldn't be owning the things that we've done that were not respectful to our young person, or if we lost our cool or whatever. So it's about making those repairs ourselves and seeing that as important, but also I think noticing the attempts by our young person to put the relationship back on a more sturdy footing, because the young person's attempt to put things right might not look like I'm really sorry for yelling at you, Mum or Dad. It might just be a different attitude that they come and approach you with, or some small task that they do, or something subtle that might not acknowledge how you're feeling about, I don't know, an outburst or an argument or whatever it is that's happened, but recognising that's their attempt to sort of come back into kind of a more positive connection with us, and allowing and encouraging that, and being able to move on together in a more positive way.
Yeah.
It took me a while to figure that one out as a parent. So, and again, individual differences, what one young person will do to try and reconnect will look entirely different to what another young person will do. And it's being able to read those kind of subtle, sometimes quite subtle cues in the young person that show, okay, they've moved on a bit, and
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? And being open to that, even when we're maybe still feeling a bit hurt. Yeah. Yeah. So all of this means too that we've got to somehow be available, hey? And I mean, I don't know what that looks like. For me, that's looked like check-ins, when they're in their room and just sitting at the end of their bed. It's looked like sitting up at the table to have tea together and talking about our days. It's looked like drop-offs, just eternal pickups and drop-offs, and that time in between. Is that a good enough?
I think so. I mean, from a research point of view, there's lots of research around the benefits of that, sitting around the table and eating together for sure. So I think that's a really good practice to have through childhood and then to try and hang on to. It gets trickier in these years just because people's schedules often get busier, and you've got young people doing perhaps after school activities and things, so it's not like everyone's home from sort of school and work perhaps at the same time like they were, but trying to find those ways to connect regularly will make it easier when there are tricky things to work through if we're also having those, I don't know, sometimes pretty ordinary, not terribly exciting, sit down and eat together. And I mean, if for some reason that doesn't work for some whānau, finding another way. I mean, maybe the car is a good one. Maybe it's, some young people might be going off for a run or, doing that with another family member. They might be grabbing coffee on a, regular basis when there's time to kill before an appointment or... But yeah, the car, driving in the car is quite an amazing opportunity. It's also an amazing opportunity to hear what's going on in the back seat if you're driving a young person and their friends.
It's true.
So long as you can zip your lip. But that is often when we will hear things, when we're sort of side by side, or maybe less pressure for the young person. Things might come to the fore and we might hear a bit more about what's going on in their life. So there's more than just the driving that's happening. I guess that's a key point for parents, whether it's preparing dinner or whether it's driving to sports practice or whatever. There's a lot more that can be going on at those times than what is first apparent. Those are potentially relationship building moments, by which I don't mean that they're full of lovely, deep and meaningful conversations all the time.
No, it's not time to sort of break open the kind of like, hey, look, I heard this podcast and I hear that this is an incredible opportunity for us to talk about whatever is going on in your life. So if you wouldn't mind, just...
Oh, I can see how that will go down.
Texting too, quick texts, thinking about you, love you, whatever. Yeah.
I'd take photos of the pets before exams with a little good luck note and send that. And I mean, different people will have their different ways that fit with their whānau, but having a young person know that we're there, but also actually recognising when maybe they don't want us there. Like, for example, at primary school, perhaps kids are quite keen to have their parents come often on school trips and be the parent helper, but that can shift. And then all of a sudden, the young person may not want their parent to be there in some of those same ways. So
respecting that.
Yeah.
Keryn, our top tips for whānau who are navigating the teenage, youthful, beautiful years.
They are beautiful years, even though it doesn't feel like that every day. Maybe that's a top tip. Important to understand the strength of emotions that our young people are experiencing, with less experience than we have to express them, and remembering to not take them personally. Although I guess I'd also add in there, don't write everything off as them just being a teenager. So if those emotions are, severe or gone for a long time and cause for concern, then to look for help for a young person because they might be struggling with their mental health, for example.
Good point.
Finding those ways of connecting with our young person, whatever that looks like, in different whānau and for different young people within that whānau. is huge. And then when the mistakes inevitably happen on either side, as the adult in particular, I think it's important that we take responsibility for repairing that relationship, trying to bring it back onto an even keel, owning our mistakes, and just doing what we can to stay in connection with our young person as they face all the amazing, exciting opportunities, but also the challenges that come at this time of their lives.
Amazing. And if you want to learn more about this, please go to www.brainwave.org.nz. It's an incredible website and full of Aotearoa specific information written by gorgeous experts such as Keryn.
Thanks, Anna. Great talking to you again.
Awesome. Thanks for being with us today.
We hope you've learned that while parenting is challenging sometimes, that's totally normal. It's been fun having you with us. Keep being amazing.
Bye!